I'm Elizabeth Cardwell. My husband Cameron and I started Blue Spring in 2017, and we have been distributing the water and sharing our mission for good health and wellness across the state of Alabama. We distribute to over 800 households with our 5-gallon jug exchange program. And we're really just here sharing the natural resources of Alabama with our state and telling them this great story of Blount County and the beauty of Blount County and just what's special about this water.
Hey y'all, I'm here today with Miss Elizabeth, who is running Blue Spring Living Water, and I'm so glad to be here. This is a dream of mine because I adore their water. Tell me about the people that call you and what they say after they start with your water.
You know, there are a lot of people that don't like the taste of water, and
Yes.
there's so much in our tap water, chlorine, fluoride, and some people are extra sensitive to that, and their doctors tell them you need to drink more water. Most people walk around slightly dehydrated.
True.
So they need to find something, a water that tastes good, and Blue Spring happens to be that water.
Well, you know what? We want everybody, all of the people that watch me cook, we want them to be able to try this water. So what are we going to do to help them get this water, Elizabeth?
Well, we're going to invite you to visit our website, bluespringlivingwater.com, and visit our shop. And you'll have a one-time coupon code to sample the water, and it's Danna15, DANNA 15, and we'll ship out a case to you with a 15% discount. And then you'll have the opportunity to come back if you want a monthly subscription, and that's a 19% discount for the lifetime of the subscription.
Very good. And she's being so generous, and I really appreciate this. Can you tell us a little bit about the history behind it?
Well, yeah, when I first started researching, I went to the libraries and the archive at the courthouse, and the first known discoverers of the spring were Davy Crockett and Andrew Jackson, and it was during the Creek Indian War. And they discovered the spring, and they like to hunt this area. So they spent a lot of time around the spring, and you can just imagine what they must have felt when they came upon it, just out in the middle of a field, you know, coming over the southern Appalachian Mountains, and that was here. The first stagecoach trail goes by here. The first mail route from Ohio to Louisiana goes by, and there are Indian warpaths. You know, we've looked at some maps. I followed one of the trails all the way to Marshall County where the mounds are. So there was a lot of activity, a lot of, you know, refreshment and, you know, people putting themselves back together. I think they stopped by the spring and would drink the water and rest and then get on with their journey.
Let's talk about the mineral content again of the water and the pH.
Yeah, it's a perfect pH. It's a 7.0 to a 7.2. It's been as high as 7.4. That shows that the water is lightly alkaline naturally, so it's very healthy for you. There is naturally occurring magnesium and calcium and silica. The magnesium and calcium need each other. The calcium needs the magnesium for the body to absorb. And the silica is a binding agent. So it's a super mineral that everybody wants in their water. And ours occurs naturally. It picks up by the limestone, and it flushes heavy metals out of your body because it binds to them. And then it binds to the other minerals, makes them more bioavailable to your body. So you can drink more of it, your body knows what to do with it, and really responds to the health of the minerals.
So I want to talk a minute to us about the water cycle of this water that we're drinking.
Well, it comes from a aquifer that is miles deep, we believe, because they've tried to drill on the property for it, and they cannot find the source of the water. So the geologists that have studied it tell us that it's on a 300-year cycle rate. So the water that is producing in the spring naturally at just under 1 million gallons a day is 300 years old. So what that means is it cycles through the earth for 300 years before it pushes into the spring. So it's truly an ancient pool of water. And the reason we know this is because of the water report. What's not in the water shows us that it doesn't have the environmental pollutants or the radioactives that are found in other waters.
Well, that's just amazing to me.
I know it.
And going through the limestone and the different rocks that it goes through is just a natural purification process.
It is. You can drink directly from the spring. It's so pure. It's so delicious. It's 52 degrees year round. The temperature of the water never changes. The land is owned by the Shedd family, and Otis Shedd had the water tested in the 90s, and he built this barn over the water, fortified the spring with concrete, 8-foot deep concrete barriers to protect the integrity of the spring.
Very good.
He loved the spring when he was a little boy, and the family, the Van Zandt family that owned it beforehand, he always told the owner that if you ever wanted to sell the spring, I'd like to buy it. So on his deathbed, his boys came over to Mr. Shedd's house, and so the story goes that he bought the spring on a handshake after Mr. Van Zandt. So
that's a great story.
He grew up here, a lot of his adult life, he and his wife and his girls, and, they have the spring water piped into their home. So they have that benefit of bathing in it and cooking with it and all of that. But he loved the spring, and we got to know him a very short time at the end of his life. And, it meant so much to understand what this spring meant to him. He called it Blue Spring. He put the eagle up here, and we wanted to preserve that history and that integrity. So we incorporated it into our brand.
Water. Yeah. I know. I love that.
Yeah,
I love it. So historical.
Yeah, very wonderful. American, made in the USA.
That's right.
And Alabama local.
Oh, wow. I want to hear a little bit more about the history of this, the depth of this water, different things like that.
Well, it's a naturally producing spring, and we've done a lot of research, and we can't find one like it anywhere really in the world, but definitely not in the United States. It produces naturally just under 1 million gallons a day.
A day.
There are 5 seams at the bottom of the pool. It's 40 feet deep, 35 to 40 feet deep, and 60 feet wide, and it's always been right here. It's just the nature. God produced this spring. Wasn't drilled for. It's just a naturally occurring spring.
Well, it is beautiful.
Yeah.
And there's a reason they call it blue, because it is blue. You see the beauty of the blue in there.
In Scottsboro, there was a little tiny earthquake, and it affects.
Oh, wow.
It shakes the earth.
Shakes it up.
Yeah. We have a very small holding tank because we don't want the water to sit. We always want it moving, and we always want it fresh. We stick it directly on a truck or mail it out. It was probably bottled 3 or 4 days before. There's a funny story. When Cameron first met Mr. Shedd to talk to him about us possibly doing this, he drove up to the house, and there was a lady out pulling weeds, just, full black head of hair, and said, ma'am, I'm looking for the Shedd. She said, well, I'm Mrs. Shedd. And they were in their young 90s at that point.
Wow.
And he could not believe how healthy both of them looked. So
wow,
they could attest to the health of the water because they had been, drinking it and bathing in it and cooking with it for 50 years.
Oh, yeah. And how long did they live?
Well into their 90s.
Well into their 90s.
That's
okay.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's proof in the
drink
pudding
your
for
Blue
me.
Spring water.
That's right. Let's drink that water. Well, I've enjoyed meeting you.
I've enjoyed
being here, and we need to get that discount, 15%. When you order your water, you're going to want some of this Blue Spring Living water. I promise you. From Blount County, Alabama. The code is Danna15, DANNA 15.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
We loved having you.
We loved being here.